"Nelly, you slap me again?" Tommy said, holding his face. "Yes, and I will slap you even harder if you say anything." That was the moment everyone inside the supermarket turned to look at them. Yes, this is where the story began. But this is not where the story started. For every flame, there is a spark. For every angry woman, there is a wound. For every slap, there is a story buried deep inside a trembling little girl. To understand why Nelly's hand rose so quickly, to understand why her heart had hardened like stone, we must travel back to the place where our fear was born. We must go back to our childhood, back to the house where love was a stranger, back to the father whose footstep she feared more than thunder. "Nelly, you slap me again?" Tommy whispered, his voice breaking like a tiny glass. He wasn't angry. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't even trying to defend himself. He was simply tired. And Nelly, beautiful, fierce, eyes burning with the same fire she had carried since childhood, pointed at him and shouted, "If you talk too much, If you talk too much, you will collect another big slap. Didn't I tell you blueberry? And you are here giving me grapes. Blueberry and grapes, are they the same thing, you useless man?" Nelly said. The supermarket became silent. Even the hair stood still. A mother, pushing a trolley, pulled her son closer. Two cashier ladies exchanged worried glances, and Tommy's heart turned into two, and then he simply walked away. But before that moment ever happened, before the anger, before the shouting and the slap, Nelly was once a little girl who hid behind the kitchen door, pressing her palms against her hair, praying that her father would not hit her mother again. Nelly grew up in a house where she learned to fear the sound of key jingling by the front door, because it meant one thing: Daddy is home. And whenever Daddy was home, peace was left out. Her father was a man whose anger filled every corner of the house. His complaints were never ending. His voice sharp like broken bottles. His presence heavy like a storm cloud that refused to go away. Nelly would watch her mother running around the house every evening, adjusting the pillow, straightening curtains, reheating stew, checking the food twice, wiping imaginary dust, fixing her wrapper, trying everything to avoid trouble. But no matter how hard she tried, trouble always came. The moment her father walked in, his eyes would scan the room like a soldier inspecting a battlefield. "Nneka! Nneka! Why is this light dim? Nneka! Why is this rice so soft? Nneka! Why are you breathing like that? Nneka! Why? Nneka! This." Always complaining, always shouting, always breaking her mother piece by piece. Nelly would hide behind the door frame, pressing her lips together so tightly that they hurt, just to stop herself from crying out loud. Sometimes she wished she could disappear. Sometimes she wished her father would disappear. And sometimes she whispered a prayer she regretted for years. "God, please take this man away from this house. Take him away from this house." Fear became Nelly's friend. It followed her everywhere, to school, to church, to bed. She learned early that raising her voice brought problems. She learned that asking questions brought shouting. She learned that tears were useless. The only thing that kept her safe was her silence. So she swallowed her feelings. She buried her pain. She hid behind anger. And when she saw her mother wipe tears while stirring soup, something inside Nelly's heart hardened. She looked at her mother and thought, "I will never be like you. Never." But what she didn't know was that when a child grew up watching a fire every day, the heat entered their body. The day Nelly turned 17, her father slapped her mother so hard that the sound echoed through the entire house. Nelly ran to her mother, shaking. "Mommy, please leave him. Leave him. Please, let's run away. He will kill you one day. Please." Her mother touched her cheek and whispered something that shatters Nelly's heart. My daughter, this is the burden God has given me. Burden? That word broke Nelly. It was that day she made a silent promise to herself. I will never let a man treat me like this. She didn't know that that promise she made out of fear will one day destroy her own happiness. She didn't know that protecting herself from hurt will turn her into one who hurts others. She didn't know that trauma, when not healed, becomes a weapon. And one day, she will use that weapon again and again and again. As Nelly grew older, she didn't soften. She didn't heal. She turned her pain into armor. She learned to shout first before anyone could shout at her. She learned to walk away before anyone could abandon her. She learned to raise her hand before anyone could hurt her. To the world, she became a strong woman. But strength built on fear is not strength. It is survivor. When her mother begged her to be gentle with men, Nelly laughed inside. She would nod politely, but her thoughts were different. My mother think I am like her. Me. I'm not foolish, oh. If any man tries me, I will show him pepper and shege, she said. She thought she was protecting herself, but she didn't know she was also destroying herself. Pain, when left untreated, becomes poison, and Nelly had swallowed too much of that poison. A child who grew up watching violence may hate it, but sometimes, without knowing, they begin to copy it. Nelly didn't realize when she began to raise her voice like her father. She didn't notice when she began to snap over small things. She didn't understand why anger came to her so easily. She only knew one thing: no man will ever control her. So, when lovers came into her life, she didn't see potential partners. She saw threats, shadows of her father, warnings, and every man paid for the sin her father committed. Every man became her enemy before they even did anything wrong. Even in school, Nelly's friend noticed something. Why do you get angry so quickly? Why do you always shout, Nelly? Why are you always ready to fight anyone? They will all ask her. But Nelly didn't know the answer to give them. Because trauma doesn't come with a label. It doesn't tell you, hey, I am trauma and I am here. It doesn't knock before entering into your adult life. It hides, it grows, and it waits. And when life triggers it, it explodes. Just like it did inside that supermarket years later. Before love ever came into Nelly's life, before the first husband, before her second husband, and before the third husband, before the slap that broke everything, Nelly was already carrying a storm inside her. A storm waiting for the slightest spark. A storm caused by a father who never learned love and a mother who never learned freedom. Nelly didn't know she was walking into her future with a wounded heart and a violent reflex. But wounds don't heal themselves. They wait for attention. And Nelly never gave hers any. Not until it was almost too late. As Tommy walked out of the supermarket, people stared at Nelly. Some with judgment, some with pity, some with confusion. But Nelly didn't look embarrassed. She didn't look sorry. She didn't even look shaken. She simply folded her arms and eased. On the outside, she looked strong. But inside, something small and sacred whispered, "Why does everyone always leave me?" But she ignored that voice. She always ignored it. Because emotions were dangerous. Because vulnerability was weakness. Because to survive her childhood, she had taught herself never to feel. Not knowing that the heart she refused to feel with will one day be the same heart she will fight desperately to fix. As Tommy walked away that day in the supermarket, Nelly's third marriage ended, but the true story was just beginning. Because the journey that takes you deep into the darkness is also the journey that leads you back into the light. But before we talk about the husband she lost before we talk about the pain she caused, before we talk about the day her quiet husband taught her a bitter lesson, we must first understand how she entered adulthood with a wound bigger than herself. This is Nelly's story, a story of pain, a story of fire, a story of healing, and a story of redemption that no one saw coming. Before Nelly ever met Stephen, the quiet man who later taught her the bitter lesson of her life, she had already traveled through 3 marriages like a woman running through a burning forest. And the sad part, she didn't even know she was the one holding the fire. Let's start with the first marriage, the one everyone thought would save her from her past. But they didn't know that a wounded heart can destroy even the softest love. Segun was the kind of man every church mother prayed for their daughters. Quiet, respectful, patient, almost too gentle for this world. He was a school teacher who believed in simple living, calm conversation, and peaceful homes. When he met Nelly, he fell in love quickly. Her beauty was stunning, her confidence intoxicating. But the fire behind her eyes, the fire he mistook for passion, was something he didn't understand until it was too late. Their wedding was small but beautiful. Nelly's mother cried tears of joy, thinking her daughter had finally escaped the curse of anger that haunted their home. But curses don't disappear just because you change your address. The first sign came 2 weeks after the wedding. Segun sat at the dining table, eating egusi soup Nelly had cooked. He took one spoonful, then another, and gently said, "Honey, the salt is too much, oh." That single sentence was enough to awaken the monster Nelly had buried inside her. She froze, her eyes hardened. The room suddenly felt colder. "You are telling me how to cook? How dare you, Segun? How dare you tell me how to cook me?" she snapped. Segun blinked, confused. I didn't mean it that way, sweetheart. I didn't mean it that way. I just..." Before he could finish, Nelly grabbed the plate and emptied the entire content on his head. "If the salt is too much, go and cook your own food, you useless man," she said. The sound of the plate hitting the floor echoed through the room. Segun sat there, stunned, his face trembling, his hand shaking. And at that moment, he realized something. Love cannot fix this woman. Fear entered his soul that night. While Nelly slept peacefully, he packed a few clothes and left the house. By morning, he was gone. No notes, no apology, no explanation. He disappeared from the marriage like smoke carried by the wind. And just like that, marriage number 1 ended. People talk. Her mother wept. Pastor tried to counsel her. But Nelly did not feel guilty. She felt justified. In her mind, if a man talks anyhow to her, he go collect woto woto. That was the rules she lived by. A rule she thought was protecting her. But in truth, it was slowly isolating her. Still, it didn't stop men from wanting her. Her beauty was a magnet, and a magnet does not choose what it attracts. So soon, another man fell into her life. His name was James, a hard-working businessman who loved deeply and forgave easily. Too easily, in fact, if you ask me. The first month of their marriage was peaceful. Nelly tried. She truly tried. She cooked, she cleaned, she smiled. She acted like a wife who wanted to build a home. But trauma is like smoke trapped inside a steel room. Eventually, it find a way out. One night, James gently touched her shoulder and said, "My wife, it has been 1 month. Please, when will you allow your husband to lie with you?" Nelly's eyes narrowed immediately. She stood up, looked at him with disgust and eased. "You are asking me for sex, James. You are asking me for sex after only 1 month. Are you mad? If I want to do it, I will say it myself. Don't ever touch me again," she said. James tried to talk. He tried to explain. He tried to beg. But Nellie heard none of it. She pushed him away, hit him with the back of her hand, shouted until the neighbors knocked on the door. James, embarrassed and humiliated, packed his bag and left the next morning. Another man gone, another marriage buried. 2 weddings in 2 years. People pointed finger everywhere she went. Whispers chased her in the market. Women folded their wrapper tightly when she walked into a gathering, as if her bad luck could rub off on them. Her mother cried again and again. "Nellie, this is not normal. Something is wrong with you, my daughter," she would say. But Nellie didn't listen. She refused to see the pattern. She refused to admit she was the problem. Instead, she convinced herself, "These men are too weak. They cannot handle a strong woman like me," she would say. But strength without control is destruction, and Nellie was destroying everything she touched. Then came Tommy, the third husband. Tommy was not rich. He was not loud. He was not the adventurous type. He was a simple man, a very calm man, the type of man who apologized when other people wronged them, the type of man who preferred peace over argument, the type of man who would rather walk away than fight. Nellie saw his gentleness as stupidity, a dangerous mistake. 3 months into their marriage, the supermarket incident happened. They were shopping together, holding hands, laughing at silly vegetables Tommy picked. It was a rare soft moment, until he picked grapes instead of blueberry. A small mistake, a meaningless mistake, a human mistake. But to a woman still fighting the ghost of her childhood, a small mistake feels like an attack. Nellie didn't even think before her hand flew across his face. Tommy held his cheek, shocked and humiliated. "Nellie, you slapped me again. Outside, in the supermarket," he said, quietly trying not to shout. "Yes, and if you talk too much, you will receive another slap. You useless man. I told you to pick blueberries. You are here with grapes. Are you deaf or what?" Everyone turned. But the embarrassment did not break Tommy. It woke him up. He looked at his wife, the woman he had hoped to build a home with, and saw someone he could no longer live with. "I cannot stay in a marriage where I am anxious every day, Nellie," he whispered. "I cannot stay with a woman who can slap me anytime and anywhere. Let us end it here. Thank you so much. I know they do again, oh. When you slap me at home, that one is okay. I can accept it. How do you slap your husband unprovoked outside in the supermarket just because you sent me to bring blueberry and I'm here with grape? Can't you just let it go? Can't you just forgive me? Or maybe when we get home, you can now continue slapping me." "No, Nellie, I can't do this with you. Let's end it here," Tommy said, and he walked away. Just like that, without looking back. Marriage number 3 over. This time, Nellie didn't shout. She didn't argue. She didn't chase him. She simply stood there, breathing fast, her chest rising and falling like a drum. Inside her heart, something whispered, "Why does everyone always leave?" But she quickly ignored it, because facing her pain meant opening the door she had locked since childhood, and Nellie was not ready for that, not yet. That night, her mother stormed into her apartment without warning. She looked older, more tired, and more broken. 3 marriages. 3 good marriages, Nellie. 3. Do you want to kill me? No, tell me. If you want to kill me, let me know tonight. Nellie looked away. You think all men are like your father? Nellie, I have already told you. Not all men are like your father. Do you think all men are like your father? But you have married 3 good men, I can tell you that. 3 good men God has blessed you with, and you chase all of them away with your bad temper and bad character. Her mother cried so loudly, the neighbors heard. And for the first time since childhood, Nellie cried too. Not loud, not dramatic, just soft tears rolling down her cheeks, tears she didn't even wipe away. That night, something cracked inside her. A small crack, but a crack all the same. And cracks are how the light enter the heart. Her mother begged her to seek help. At first, Nelly refused, but the shame was too heavy. The loneliness was too suffocating. The pattern is too clear to deny. So, she went for therapy. Not for healing, but to stop drowning. Nelly didn't know that therapy will become the bridge that led her to the quiet man who will later change her life forever. The man who will love her. The man who will suffer because of her. The man who will teach her a bitter lesson. A lesson that will save her life. Therapy indeed changed something in Nelly, but not like the way movies describe it. Not sudden peace, not magical transformation. It was more like waking up from a long sleep to realize your house was on fire. She walked out of every section, feeling both lighter and heavier. Lighter because the truth was finally out of her chest. Heavier because the truth still hurt her. But life continued. One ordinary morning, Nelly stood outside her compound, waiting for an Uber that refused to show up. She was already late for work. Sweat gathered at her neck. Her handbag felt too heavy, and every passing car reminded her of how stuck she was. She tried flagging cars down, but none stopped for her, until one finally did. A simple black saloon car rolled down to a gentle stop beside her. The window came down slowly, revealing a calm, handsome man with warm eyes. "Are you heading towards the express?" the man asked. Nelly didn't even think twice. She quickly opened the door and entered the car. "Yes, thank you so much. No Uber today, oh, no taxi. I don't know what happened. I will have lost my job today," she said. "There was an accident on the other route," the man said. "Most drivers are turning back. I think that is why you couldn't get an Uber." His voice was soft, almost musical. It calmed Nelly in a way she didn't expect. "My name is Stephen, by the way," he said. "Oh, nice to meet you, Stephen. My name is Nelly," she replied. That short introduction opened a door neither of them will ever be able to close. Their friendship grew slowly and naturally. What started as occasional ride became long conversation. What started as friendly chat became daily calls. What started as coincidental became intentional. Stephen had something Nelly had never experienced in all her marriage: gentleness. He listened when she spoke. He noticed when she was sad. He celebrated her small wins. He respected her silence. A man who did not force himself into her world, but quietly built a place for her beside him. After some months, Nelly called her mother one night with a shy smile in her voice. "Mommy, I think I am in love," she said. Her mother almost screamed for joy. "Ah, Nelly, I really hope so. I really hope you are in love, oh, thank God. Please, my daughter, don't chase this one away with your bad temper, oh. Please, like I said, not all men are like your father." "Do you hear?" Nelly laughed softly. "Mama, I have no reason to. I'm much better now," she said. She believed it, and for a while, it was true, because 6 months later, Stephen proposed. Simple, sincere, and beautiful. Nelly said yes. Their wedding was the kind that made strangers smile, the kind that made people whispered, "This marriage will last forever." If only they knew. Stephen was the definition of husband material 1,000 yards. He was quiet, attentive, kind, supportive, and very patient. He treated Nelly like she was something fragile, something precious, something worth protecting. And Nelly tried. Oh, let's not lie, she really tried to be a good wife. But trauma is not a switch. It doesn't turn off because love entered. Some days she cooked. Some days she refused to cook. Some days she smiled. Some days her anger boiled for no reason. Some days She treated Stephen like a gift, some days like an enemy. 6 months into the marriage, she still refused to let Stephen touch her. Whenever he come close, she claimed she was on her period, even when it wasn't true. Stephen never forced her. He waited, silently, patiently, and lovingly, until one day, patience met his limit. Stephen had closed early from work and decided to surprise his wife by picking her up. He tested her. No reply. He called her. No answer. When he reached her workplace, he saw Nellie laughing loudly with a friend, completely unaware of her phone. So, he called her again. She didn't even look at the screen. So, he shouted gently, "Nellie! Nellie! Nellie!" 3 times, and Nellie finally turned. But instead of smiling, she frowned. "Why are you shouting my name like that in public?" she snapped. "Are you okay? Do you think I am deaf or what?" Stephen froze, completely confused. Her friend, Sade, looked confused too. Nellie. Calm down now, Sade said. "Your husband came to pick you. Isn't that sweet?" Nellie is. "I don't blame you. That is why no man is ever serious with you, because you let them talk to you anyhow. But me, Nellie, no man can disgrace me or talk to me anyhow," she said. The words hit Sade like a slap. Stephen's face changed. He was hot. He was disappointed. It was humiliating. And so, when they got home, he didn't speak to her, not a word. He moved around the house like a ghost, keeping to himself for a good 3 days. The silence tortured Nellie more than shouting ever could. Finally, she knelt beside him one night. "Stephen, I am so sorry," she whispered. I don't know why I do these things. I don't know. I don't want to hurt you, but I don't know what is wrong with me. I am wrong. I shouldn't have shouted at you like that. I shouldn't have talked at you like that in that manner. I am so sorry," she said. Stephen looked at her gently. His forgiveness was soft, warm, undeserved. She promised to be better. For a while, she did. Until the morning everything broke. Stephen dressed for work early and noticed Nellie was still asleep. She was going to be late. He gently tapped her shoulder and said, "Nellie, my love, wake up. It's almost 7:45, oh," he said. She slowly opened her eyes, and anger rose instantly. "What is it? What is it? Why are you touching me like that? This early morning? You want to control me?" Her hand lifted fast, too fast. The same hand that had slapped 3 husbands before him. The same hand she has inherited from her father's rage. But this time, Stephen grabbed her wrist mid-here. For the first time ever, he didn't let her hit him. He didn't stand there like a wall waiting for impact. Instead, he used her own hand to slap her cheek gently, not to hurt her, but to shock her. Nellie froze, her eyes wide, heart in her throat. No man had ever stopped her before. "How dare you?" she screamed. "How dare you raise my own hand to my face? You raise my hand to my face? How dare you, Stephen? How dare you?" Nellie said. And Stephen replied quietly, his voice shaking with pain. "How dare you to Nellie? How dare you try to slap me? What have I done to deserve this? Why do you treat me like I am your enemy? Are we fighting? Have I ever done any wrong to you since I married you? Why do you think it is normal for you to slap me, unprovoked?" His voice broke. Not loud, not angry, just tired. "Nellie, who hurt you? Because I am very sure I did not hurt you. So, who hurt you, Nellie? Nellie, what are you fighting, for God's sake? Nellie, why do you want to destroy the one person who loves you?" She collapsed on her knees, on the cold floor, sobbing the way a child cries for a mother who never hugged her. She told Stephen everything: the beating, the insults, her mother's fear, her father's cruelty, her hatred for men, her promises to never be controlled, her fear of loving, her belief that all men becomes a monster at some point. Stephen listened, and when she finished, he pulled her into his chest like she was broken glass. Oh, Nelly, I am so sorry to hear all of this. But I am not your father, Nelly, he whispered. And you are not your mother. But you need help, Nelly. You can't continue like this. And I'm going to help you get better. I'm not leaving you. I don't plan to leave you. But I want you to know that whenever you see me, you have to always remember that I am not your father. And you, my darling wife, you are not your mother. He registered her back into therapy. He attended couple section with her. He held her when she cried. He corrected her gently when she slept. He reminded her every day that love is not war. It took months, hard months, painful ones, but little by little, the anger melted. Nelly softened. She learned to breathe before reacting. She learned to speak before exploding. She learned that being loved is not the same as being controlled. She learned that healing is not a straight road, but a journey with bruises and victories. And one morning, long after the storm had passed, she looked at Stephen, preparing breakfast, and whispered, "Thank you for not leaving me, for loving me enough to teach me." Stephen smiled. "Thank you for choosing me to heal." Nelly laughed softly. "I didn't heal for you. I healed for me. But you made it easy and you made it possible." And that was the truth. In the end, Nelly became the woman she never had growing up. Patient, gentle, soft, peaceful, and finally free. Trauma gave her anger, love gave her healing, but wisdom gave her transformation. And Stephen, the quiet husband, became the man who taught her the bitter lesson that saved her life. Love is not for fighting. Love is for healing. And so, my sweet dearest subscriber, we have come to the end of this amazing and interesting story. One thing that stood out for me in this story is that just because someone's father is abusive, is wicked, and maybe the person grew up in a very toxic environment or toxic home, does not mean that the person will end up marrying a toxic person. And that is why we cannot use the blueprint of our parent relationship to define our own relationship. And we have to be very, very careful, because you might just be lucky to get married to somebody that loves you and respects you. But then you are still acting based on the blueprint of your parents, which you did not know. And that is why it's very important that we learn, we evolve, and we heal the right way, so that we will not make the same mistake we are trying to avoid. Anyway, let me know what stands for you in this story in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to support my channel by liking this story and share it with your loved ones. If you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss on any of our interesting story. Thank you all for your love and support. It means a lot to this channel. May God bless you all. Till my next story, be kind to yourself, stay safe, and stay blessed.